It is official. Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall will both be back in the 49ers starting lineup Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. Fitting because both of them are from that Phoenix Metroplex. Brock Purdy's team hung 70 on Ricky Pearsall's team back in high school, but Ricky did have 184 receiving yards. Anyway, it all works out. The 49ers are going to see their QB1 and their top receiver both back after absences that lasted since September 28th against Jacksonville. And in case anybody needs a reminder, the 49ers are returning the most efficient quarterback in the entire NFL since 2022, which is the year that Brock Purdy entered the league. As you can see here, Purdy's dot above Josh Allen, above that of Patrick Mahomes. He also leads the league in success rate. So this is massive news. It also shatters a lot of stupid narratives that we've had to listen to over the course of the past several weeks, saying that the 49ers should ride the hot hand and stick with Mac Jones. Mac did a fantastic job. 49ers are very, very lucky, very fortunate, and they definitely acknowledge how blessed they are to have two competent quarterbacks. But Brock has been one of the best in the game ever since he entered the league in 2022. I think it's one of the great stories in NFL history, from pick 262 to where he's at right now. He's been excellent even this season when he was healthy against the Seattle Seahawks. And mind you, they beat the Seahawks, the 49ers did, even when Brock Purdy wasn't healthy, because he suffered the toe injury in the first half of that game. They decided to play the long game after a re-aggravation against Jacksonville. Brock Purdy now says that he feels great and there will not be a steel plate or insert in his shoe near that toe, which he had in week 4 against Jacksonville. So obviously healthier now than he was back then. The 49ers learned a lot about the turf toe healing process through the aggravation in week 4. Brock Purdy learned a lot as well. They're not saying it was a mistake to start Brock back then, but they are acknowledging that lessons were learned over the course of that game and the compromised position that Brock Purdy's toe found itself in on a first half play. Lessons were learned about how to approach this recovery, and they decided to long game it. They had the luxury to do that with Mac Jones playing as well as he did play. Jones, number 11 QBR over his 8 starts this season. The 49ers have gone 5-3 in them. Now, though, it's time to hand the torch back to Purdy, who's actually finished number 1 in NFL QBR in the past, not so long ago in 2023. Slipped only to number 7 last season. Let's hear a little bit from Brock Purdy himself at his press conference today, his first press conference at the 49ers facility in quite some time, because when he was not slated to start, the 49ers did not put him up in front of the media. Now Brock Purdy was able to open up about the recovery process that's lasted about a month and a half.
Frustrating, obviously, like going into year 4, I wanted to come in and play my best ball so far in my career, and was really excited about it. We come in, play Seattle, and win on the road, and just feeling really good about the year. And then all of a sudden, like I'm just dealing with the toe thing, and it has been frustrating. The time missed, and seeing our team and an opportunity to go and win games, put a season together, man, and feel good about it. So it's just been frustrating for sure. But at the same time, this is just the cards that I've been dealt with, and I'm not trying to be woe is me kind of thing. We still have 7 games here to go and put something together, and our goals are right in front of us. So that's how I'm looking at it. I'm excited about it.
Playing against Jacksonville, was that a mistake?
No. That going into that week, I felt good. I really did, and I thought I was going to be good to go. I just unfortunately got caught in a bad position with my toe again, and just re-aggravated it. And so that's sort of just what happened. And looking back on it, man, I'm a competitor. I want to go out and lead, and I felt good throughout the week to be able to go out and lead our guys to win and play good quarterback. And it's just unfortunate I got caught in that position. So
that is Brock Purdy today at the 49ers facility. Went through 2 aggressive practices, and Kyle Shanahan went ahead and made the decision public. He talked on the in-house show with Matt Mayoko. I think that one doesn't run on YouTube until Saturday. He said it on KMBR. Brock himself said that he plans to start on Sunday during the press conference that you just saw. Ricky Pearsall also back. Remember that Brock and Ricky Pearsall, last time that we saw them on the field together during a game was against Jacksonville. They had a really, really nice deep connection, and then they should have had another really nice deep connection, but Ricky Pearsall was hurt on the play, and it was ruled an incompletion incorrectly. Ricky on his phone showed me a picture of that play where he got hurt, and he had both toes inbounds, touching the ground, and he had control over the football, but the officials called it an incomplete pass. I don't know if that was something that the NFL reached out to the 49ers for after the fact and said, we got the call wrong. But guess what? Kyle Shanahan got a letter from the NFL this week acknowledging that the first third down of the game against the Rams, where Juwan Jennings was unable to hold on to a pass, should have been pass interference on the Rams. It wasn't actually pass interference because a flag wasn't thrown. But the league does go back and issue corrections, and they did in the case of the first third down of the game for San Francisco on Sunday. Doesn't help the 49ers at this point, but we were all wondering watching that game, didn't that defensive back get there a little early? Turns out that he did, and the 49ers had to punt. Shanahan said that he wasn't going to risk a 4th and 3 at that time. He didn't know how badly the defense was going to play at that time, in all fairness, because the Rams did score early on. The 49ers were trying to rebut. Shanahan thought that the defense might actually dig in and get a stop. And, if you look at the week prior against the New York Giants, the defense looked terrible in drive 1, and then they turned it up after that. So it was fair to expect the defense to at least have a pulse. They didn't for 3 drives. That missed pass interference call, the 49ers punt. Then the 49ers failed 4th and 1 conversion, the Juwan Jennings fumble. All those things over the course of the first 3 possessions helped bury San Francisco in a 21-0 deficit. But they move forward into week 11 with Purdy and Pearsall back and a very legitimate shot to take this offense to an elite level. That's the big picture here. That's what I wrote about up on the San Francisco Standard. We can take a look at it right now. This article is linked in the description. You should go ahead and check it out. Talk about Purdy and Pearsall playing against each other in high school, and now they're going to be on the same offense back on the field for San Francisco against the Arizona Cardinals. And, I talk about a chance to move this to an elite level for the 49ers. Well, this is the graphic that I like to show you. San Francisco, and, let's make this bigger on the screen. This one is important enough to drag up on the screen right here. Have everybody see it in a way that is not obstructed by any other text, all right? I have it ready. This is what the Pearsall and Purdy returns mean. This means the 49ers have a legitimate shot to move on this axis, on the x-axis to the right, offensively. Right now, they're a little bit above average offensively, and they're significantly below average defensively. So offense has been the leader, even though Mac Jones, the QB2, has been in charge for 8 of the games. The 49ers need to increase the explosiveness of the offense. They need to increase the verticality of the offense. It has not been an explosive unit for the 49ers. Mike, if you have one of those explosive play charts, I've seen those floating around the last couple of days. Can you send one over to me and I'll post it up on the screen? Last year, San Francisco with Brock Purdy under center was able to deliver explosive plays despite all that went wrong with this offense. Here in 2025, there haven't been a lot of explosive plays. And I think that it's not just the absence of Purdy, it's also been the absence of Ricky Pearsall, who brings the offense something new in terms of route running precision. And I talk about the explosive play against Jacksonville. I could talk about the go ball on the double move that Pearsall caught in week 1 against the Seattle Seahawks. Sometimes you need to break out of jail with a lightning strike gain downfield. And there's no receiver on the 49ers more capable of delivering that than Mr. Ricky Pearsall. There's no quarterback on the 49ers capable of delivering that than Brock Purdy. They get both of them back on Sunday against Arizona, a technically sound defense under Jonathan Gannon that gave them some trouble back in week 3 when Mac Jones was the starting quarterback. Now the 49ers have not all their weapons, but they have as close to a full arsenal as they have this entire season offensively. The one remaining weapon that is not yet back is Brandon Ayuk, the wide receiver who's still recovering from tearing 3 ligaments in his knee. John Lynch this morning on KMBR said that the 49ers' intention is to have Brandon Ayuk playing at some point this year. The problem is that he tore all 3 ligaments in his knee. He's not even at the 13-month mark yet, and it's a 12 to 18-month window. So if he falls in the middle of that window, it'll be 15 months, and he'll probably miss this season. But if he is on the miraculously early side of this window, the 49ers can open up the practice window at any point now, and then he'll have 3 weeks to be activated. But still, with Brandon Ayuk, that's something that we can worry about in future weeks. This week, we should be talking about the 49ers and what the roster looks like now, and I think we can ceremonially remove the pink injury shading from Brandon Ayuk, from Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall's names up on the 49ers 90-man depth chart. We've been waiting a while to do this. It's a big moment. Both of them have been shaded as hurt since week 4 or since the aftermath of week 4. So we can take Purdy's name and we can hit reset here. We could take Pearsall's name. We can hit reset on this color. We can also say that every single player on the 49ers 53-man roster was present at practice today. Why don't we take the injury shading off of Alfred Collins' name and off of D. Winter's name as well? The 49ers have a shorter injury report than the Arizona Cardinals. It's the first time their injury report has been shorter than their opponents this season. And for the first time in a long time, we can say that there are no pink shades on this entire roster. In fact, we can go back to designating Alfred Collins as a rookie with the green shade. I think we've got all the rookies accounted for at this point, making sure as I look up and down. Unfortunately, I cannot bring back players from injured reserve on a live stream here on YouTube. So the 49ers are down Michael Williams, Yetur Gross-Matos, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa. But I can take Ben Barch off of IR. I just hadn't done that yet. Barch back with the 49ers. That's big in front of Purdy. You got Barch and Spencer Burford likely to split some snaps for San Francisco at left guard. Ayuk and Curtis Rourke remain on PUP and NFI respectively. The 49ers have activated George Kittle, Kevin Givens, Spencer Burford, and Barch, whom I just mentioned, from either, or those are all from injured reserve this year. They have yet to activate anybody from PUP, or actually they activated Malik Mustafa from PUP. But the 4 IR activations for the 49ers are listed right here. You have them ready for you on this big show, acknowledging the returns of Ricky Pearsall and Brock Purdy to the 49ers lineup. We've got some offensive explosive play rates sent courtesy of Mike. Take a look at this, because 2024, back when Brock Purdy started the majority of games for the 49ers, this one table looked very, very different. I'm not sure if Mike has access to last year's as well, but at least we can take a look at the 2025 table. X-axis is explosive run rate. Y-axis is explosive pass rate. So I could take this away so you could see the whole thing. Needless to say, you need to be in the top right of this to be considered an explosive offense on both the ground and through the air. The 49ers are on the bottom left because their explosive pass rate and their explosive run rate, both of those are below average. Last year, the 49ers were up here. I mean, they did struggle with a lot of things in 2024, but they still generated explosive plays. And a huge part of that reason was Brock Purdy and at quarterback. Obviously, last year they also had Deebo Samuel, but it was not a good year for Deebo. I think the one variable that has changed most this year is the 49ers have worsened at the quarterback position. Purdy had a damn good year in 2024, even despite the fact that the 49ers only won those 6 games. Again, he ranked number 7 in QBR, and he generated a whole heck of a lot of explosive plays for the 49ers last season. He's going to be back against the Cardinals defense that is banged up. There's going to be no Mac Wilson at linebacker for Arizona. They've still got Budda Baker on the back end. I think Arizona's offense is more beaten up than their defense, but they have a new quarterback this time versus the QB whom the 49ers faced back in week 3, and that is Jacoby Brissett, who's actually been more efficient than Kyler Murray. Neither has been a world beater, but Brissett is number 17 in EPA. Kyler Murray is number 20. So the 49ers may face a little bit more of a challenge on that side of the ball. Of course, this time They entered that Arizona game with both Nick Bosa and Fred Warner available. They left without Nick Bosa. That's when he tore his ACL. But they did have Warner for the duration of that game. This time it's neither Bosa nor Warner. A lot more pressure just naturally on a week-by-week basis on the 49ers offense. And that's why we've been waiting for this Brock Purdy return with bated breath. This is the outline of the way that the 49ers want this to go. Either the red arrow or the orange arrow would both be acceptable to get the 49ers into contention. Both require the stabilization of the defense. Robert Saleh today had a very optimistic quote. And Deommodore Lenoir was added to the practice report today, by the way. He was limited with a calf issue. 49ers can never get through Thursday without something happening, it seems. So we're going to have to, we're brief interruption. We go back to the 49ers depth chart. I just got done talking about how everything was clean for the first time in forever. That lasted about 10 seconds. We're going to zoom in. And we're also not going to freak out, right? It's Thursday, and Kyle Shanahan didn't get a chance to speak about the injury yet. He'll have a chance to speak on it tomorrow. We'll be back out of the facility, but we do have to shade Deommodore Lenoir with that pink shade. If he, for whatever reason, can't play, 49ers will be all out of veteran pillars on the defensive side of the ball. And speaking of that, I got to put the veteran pillar shade back on Brock Purdy. That yellow/gold shade. They've got Purdy, McCaffrey, Kittle, and Trent Williams all available on the offensive side as far as foundational pillars go. On the defensive side, since we just shaded the shade for Deommodore Lenoir, and we just talked about Nick Bosa and Fred Warner being out, there's nothing on that side for the 49ers as far as a foundational pillar. So there you have it. That's why the 49ers offense is going to be tasked with carrying the load from here on out. They've got to carry an outsized part of the load from here on out. Questions on this big day? I think that some people might have expected that the 49ers wouldn't deliver this news until tomorrow, until Friday, but Kyle Shanahan had a good quote, and then I could go back to the Robert Saleh quote, which was also a good one. Kyle Shanahan, though, was blunt about this when he was talking on KNBR just a few minutes ago. He said, "No point in messing around. It's time to go." Purdy felt no pain on Wednesday and Thursday. 49ers feel that they've long gamed this to the point where he's as close to 100% as he's possibly going to be this season. Otherwise, it would take even more rest, and they obviously can't punt on a season where they're 6-4. So there's no time to, or no point to mess around. It is time to go. Robert Saleh, by the way, earlier said, and this ties in to the 49ers defense. Why don't we open up the arrows again? Here you go. Okay, so we look at where the 49ers are at right now. We know the defense is on the vertical axis. Do they follow the red arrow, which means improving defense, significantly improving defense, the orange arrow, which means just stop the bleeding, or the blue arrow, which means don't change trajectory at all and the defensive slide just continues? That's where the 49ers would end up, either of those three options, if paired with a surge in offensive play. So obviously they are reliant on the defense doing at least something to stabilize the currently negative trajectory. And Robert Saleh today said, "We're going to get better every single week. I'm confident in that. And the main goal is to continue getting better, so that way in January we're hitting the ground running and we'll see if we can do something cool." Robert Saleh, I believe in my heart of hearts that he truly, truly thinks the 49ers can follow the trajectory of the red arrow as these players get more experience, as he gets a chance to coach them up. And you know what? As the 49ers face worse opponents, specifically worse offenses. I know that I've looked at this a couple times, but it's worth looking at it again. Remember, offense is measured on the x-axis, so moving horizontally. So the further left you are, the worse the offense that you face is. First, Arizona Cardinals, right here, below average offense. Then the Carolina Panthers, further below average offense. Then the Cleveland Browns, significantly below average offense. Finally, the fourth game, the Tennessee Titans. Nothing more needs to be said. I mean, they are outliers in the worst way possible. if you want to look at this on the other side, Brock Purdy returning and Ricky Pearsall returning, who do the 49ers face defensively over the next 4 games? Well, first, a slightly above average Arizona Cardinals defense. Then a below average Carolina Panthers defense. Then a significantly above average Cleveland Browns defense. And then an absolutely terrible Tennessee Titans defense. So that's the challenge for the 49ers over the next 4 games. It definitely is not as big of a challenge as the one that the 49ers have faced over the course of the first 10. The schedule softens up considerably for the 49ers just as Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall return for this football team. And I think, when you listen to Robert Saleh talking about January and you hear him saying what he did in the quote that I just read to you, I think it's common sense. More time in the system, more time learning how to play without Nick Bosa and Fred Warner, now Mykel Williams. All of that can help the 49ers defense. Now, my one biggest worry for the 49ers defense, since I've already gotten used to the reality of no Bosa, no Warner, and I realize the 49ers have to make it work without them, I'm not really sure exactly where the no Mykel Williams impact and how much that impact will be felt over a longer stretch without Mykel. I will say that one game, the first one without Mykel, was a disaster. But it also came against these guys, the best offense or one of the best offenses in the entire league. But without Mykel and without Alfred Collins, who was also out for San Francisco this past Sunday, the 49ers were not able to slow down the Rams' run game when it really mattered. And because of that, the pass game was wide open. They didn't earn the right to rush the passer. I know that Mykel Williams has been awesome when it's come to setting the edge, when it's come to absorbing double teams. I think Alfred Collins has done a lot of the same. I think that he has blossomed most impressively probably out of any 49ers rookie. Though with both of those guys out, the 49ers went back to Nick Sorensen 2024 run defense. It was not good enough against the Rams. I understand that they are not going to be facing teams at the Rams level for the next month. Although the Colts, they have a really good run offense with Jonathan Taylor. They're coming up on December 22nd. So I understand that the level of competition is going to go down into the 20s. It's going to go down from the top 3 into the 20s. But despite that, there's going to be challenges on this schedule from a run defense perspective. If it doesn't happen this week with Trey Benson and the Arizona Cardinals, I know that James Conner got hurt. It will definitely happen on Monday Night Football against the Panthers. Rico Dowdle has been going crazy this year for Carolina. It may not be a big challenge against Cleveland or Tennessee, but then Jonathan Taylor and the Colts come calling on December 22nd. So the 49ers have to find a way to make that run defense hold up without Mykel Williams. And I think a big part of it is indeed Alfred Collins, the big pillar of granite, the rookie defensive tackle out of Texas. Nigel says Rico Dowdle on Monday Night Football. Yes, sir. Seahawks fans must be worried. I mean, from the NFC West, I'm worried that Brock Purdy's returning. You have quite literally the most efficient quarterback in the NFL since he's joined the league coming back into the lineup for the 49ers. This is the biggest news in the NFL today, probably this week. It's definitely the biggest news for the 49ers in quite some time. That's why we put the breaking and the official tag on it, because we've been talking about this return for a while. Kyle Shanahan said that he was very close to activating Brock Purdy last week, at least to be the backup. But then the 49ers decided, you know what, starter or bust. He's going to be one play away from re-entering the game, and we've already played the long game for as much time as we have. Let's just wait until we feel truly confident putting him in the game. Let's make sure that his potential to play matches up with our confidence in his ability to play. Let's make sure that he's the starter and not just some backup that might be a play away from playing just because we're half-assing it. That's what the 49ers said. They didn't want any half-assing in this situation. Now there's no more point to wait. Brock did not feel pain in his toe over Wednesday and Thursday. So landing gear up. Time for the 49ers to fly. Time for them to figure out a way to make this offense explosive again. And that's something that Brock Purdy can do with his legs. Mac Jones executed this system very well over the course of his 8 starts, but he did not give the off-schedule ability that Brock Purdy has been able to dazzle us with. He did not push the ball downfield the way that Purdy has pushed the ball downfield. The 49ers lost explosiveness that they had even in 2024, a down year, as a direct byproduct of that. This is all stuff that Purdy can help jumpstart with his style of play, with his threat to go downfield, with his legs for the 49ers moving forward. Russell says Mac Jones is awesome. I agree. I mean, Mac Jones, the best backup in the league. 49ers are the best quarterback room. I was saying this at the start. I thought the 49ers are the best QB room in the league. I think that's been verified with Mac Jones sitting at number 11 in QBR after a stint as the backup. Tanner says Mac looked pretty mobile last week. I think that Mac moved decently fine, but what do you mean by pretty mobile? I mean, pretty mobile, that to me, that's a different standard. That's somebody who could take off and run and pick up serious yardage. Mac was able to shuffle his way out of some pressure with some good pocket presence and some good footwork. Goes back to his tennis days on the touchdown to Luke Farrell, but pretty mobile is Brock Purdy in the NFC Championship game. That's pretty mobile. I don't think that Mac Jones has ever demonstrated that level of mobility. Purdy's run away from a lot of pressure for the 49ers. He's extended plays. He's pushed the ball downfield. Again, when you're talking about Brock Purdy, you are talking about the most efficient quarterback in football ever since he joined the league in 2022. I'm looking through for some more questions. And, one main thing is you don't need to denigrate Brock to prop up Mac, and you don't have to denigrate Mac to prop up Brock. Nobody in an actual NFL building is thinking that way. The only people who think that way are loser fans sitting at home, trying to tear somebody down, raise somebody else up. Loser media, loser fans. That's not the mentality that's in the building. Like, it's our job to cover what actually happens in the building. And the 49ers have 2 really good quarterbacks. There's absolutely no reason to look for issues with one just to make the other one look better. Like, I think that's what a lot of people don't get. And they get into this cycle of argument back and forth online that they become like fans of a certain player, and they think that they have to be loyal to that player and vitriolic toward another player, when in the room, the quarterback room itself, Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, and Adrian Martinez all really like each other. They're all around the same age. It's a really productive vibe. Mac understood that he was the backup of this team, trying to rehabilitate his career. Brock understands that he's the starter of this team. We all see the numbers. We all see the data, the factual data of who's delivering at the highest level in the NFL since 2022, and it is Brock Purdy. We all saw the Seattle game where Purdy was able to lead the 49ers to victory. We saw the Jacksonville game where the 49ers dropped 6 passes and Brock wasn't fully himself with the aggravation of the toe injury earlier in that game. I think that to anybody who's remotely objective or plugged into this situation, they can step back and they can see that the 49ers are blessed with 2 good quarterbacks, and that when QB1 is healthy, he's back in there. No question. I think that the discourse has gotten toxic because there are loud people who can't comprehend just basic teamwork that are trying to flood the marketplace with views that basically aren't valid. I mean, not every opinion is a valid one, because if that opinion doesn't match up with what is factually correct, then it is just a falsity. And the truth in this situation is that the 49ers have somebody like Purdy, who is one of the best stories in NFL history at this point, and somebody like Mac Jones, who's blazing his own trail, blazing his own story that is quite impressive after rough start to his career. And when you've got both of those on your team, then you could weather the storm of a tough NFL season, because you need two these days. You look across the whole league, quarterbacks have gone down. Last year, the 49ers lost Purdy for 2 games. They started Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs. They lost both of those games. This year, 8 games without Brock Purdy. They're 5-3. That's the winning difference in this season. That's why they've got a 76% chance to make the playoffs, because Mac was able to keep this thing afloat for San Francisco. But he kept it afloat. He didn't make them an offensive juggernaut. And they're going to need to be an offensive juggernaut now because of what has happened to the defense from an injury perspective. I know that we all thought the defense might be a top 10 unit, especially after we saw them shut down the Seattle Seahawks and close out the New Orleans Saints in weeks 1 and 2. But we've also seen Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and Michael Williams injuries since then. And that means that the defense has slid to where it's at right here. And that means that the offense is going to have to carry some serious weight for the 49ers, and that is dependent on players like Purdy and players like Ricky Pearsall. Looking through some questions now. Have I seen a better quarterback in Shanahan's system than Brock Purdy? With the 49ers or before the 49ers? Because Matt Ryan finished number 1 in QBR in 2016, and Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. But 2023 Purdy was damn good. The numbers were better than 2016 Matt Ryan, but both of them were Shanahan quarterbacks. Matt Ryan and Tom Brady were 1-2 in 2016 QBR. Purdy was number 1 in 2023 and dropped down to number 7 in 2024. Rick says the defense is so bad. Why not start Purdy and see if the 49ers can salvage some games? Well, yeah, regardless of whether the defense is bad or not, Brock Purdy is being paid $53 million a year because he earned that contract. And when he's healthy enough to go, he should go, just like any player in the NFL. I mean, it's a very relatively simple league in those terms. I don't know why or how this became overcomplicated at any point. I would maybe understand if Mac Jones had been playing at 2023 Purdy level and the 49ers were 8-0 in his starts. Mac has been really good, much better, I think, than even the 49ers expected. But again, the 49ers have been playing 500 ball for the last month plus at this point. And some of the fault there goes on the offense too, which has played some awesome defenses like the Houston Texans and gotten absolutely stonewalled. We said then that the 49ers needed Brock Purdy's mobility. I thought that they needed it against the Rams. The fourth down interception from Mac Jones was a great example. Buying some extra time there was probably necessary, but I don't know if I'm sure that Mac just isn't as fast, doesn't have the burst, the 10-yard split that Brock Purdy does. It's time to raise the ceiling of the offense if you're the 49ers, because again, the team tier chart tells us everything. I mean, either, the diagonal tiers are the standards, right? Offense and defense. And either you get up into one of these tiers because your defense is so high up there and the offense is just a little bit above average, or you get up there because your offense is excellent and your defense is just a little bit above average. With the 49ers defense sinking all the way down here to the bottom or near the bottom, they got to get very far over to the right offensively. The only way that they're going to have that ceiling in terms of explosive play rate, both passing and running, the only way that that's going to happen is if they've got QB1 in there with his ability to extend plays, and Ricky Pearsall with his ability to establish a true vertical threat downfield. We're going to take some time to thank the sponsor of this show, Hollow Socks. Alpaca socks built for the field. These are performance-grade socks made from ultra-soft baby alpaca fibers, engineered for rugged conditions and designed to keep your feet dry, warm, and comfortable no matter where the day takes you. They're the only socks that will help keep your feet warm below freezing and then cooled off when it hits 80 degrees. They feel amazing. Reinforced structure of the heel and toe, perfect for hunt boots. They're lightweight, supportive, and unbelievably soft. They're 3 times warmer than wool and still lightweight. These socks keep your feet dry if you're hiking up a hill to get to your tree stand or stalking trophy bulls in the mountains, and they'll still feel fresh hours later. For a limited time, Hollow Socks is having a buy 3, get 3 free sale. Head to hollowsocks.com today to check it out. That's hollowsocks.com for up to 50% off your order. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. You can support our show by telling them that we sent you. hollowsocks.com. All right, let's get back to the questions so we can get on with our lives. I know Thursdays are a little weird, especially when there's a big atmospheric river happening outside, but we're having a good time on this Thursday ahead of not a great, well, maybe it will. Division games can always surprise you, but Thursday Night Football is the Jets and the Patriots today. 13-point favorites, the New England Patriots are. Got a couple questions. Through the super chat, how did Purdy look compared to training camp? I think he looks relatively similar to training camp. Clay Kubiak, 49ers offensive coordinator, thinks the same thing. I think that he's been looking spry out there for a couple weeks now. And another question here, is there anyone you think we could steal off someone's practice squad that can help the 49ers defense? From Rico Carter. There might be some marginal improvements the 49ers can make here or there. I'm not a pro scouting director, so I'm not studying practice squads around the league. If the 49ers see somebody they like and they do make a move, I'll delve into all the tape and the analysis. If they thought that there was somebody that they could bring in to do that, they would have already have done it. But things change on a week-by-week basis. The 49ers' own health situation will change, and we'll see what they have in store after this game against the Arizona Cardinals. But yes, they do have to get that defense turned around. Yeah, Pats are 13-point favorites tonight. It's a big spread against the New York Jets. What's my opinion of the 49ers making the playoffs? They're 76% likely to make the playoffs. They have the odds in their favor. They've got to win the next 4 and then one of the final 3. Then you're 11-6, and in all likelihood, you'll make the tournament if you're 11-6. So the path for the 49ers is clear. They are favored in each of the next 4 games. And you're probably sick of seeing this at this point, but this is the formula. You've got to stabilize the defense with experience playing under Robert Saleh, playing bad opponents, and you've got to turbocharge the offense. It's as simple as that. And Purdy and Pearsall can help turbocharge the offense. Maybe the 49ers are able to do that this week against the Arizona Cardinals, a beleaguered team that is even more injured than they are, and the 49ers are healing up right now. I know it won't be back to week 1 level at any point, but they're healing up. 49ers want to find a way to turbocharge the offense and then have the defense support it. Wow, I have some good news. Mike says that the Italian American Club of New York, New Jersey made me a full member today. That's pretty cool. Lombardi herself, who is also a Lombardi by name, just jumped out of her seat in the living room. I heard that, but news in the comments section. That was a cool comment. I'm guessing that Mike is a member of the Italian Club of New York, New Jersey. Mike also has good Purdy, Mac Jones takes. Mac's been unbelievable. Great guy, too. But Purdy, I mean, like, this is not controversial, right? It's people are making up fake controversy here. Purdy has been the most efficient in the league since 2022. 49ers got Mac to be the backup. They're rehabilitating him just like Sam Darnold. And we'll see where it ends up with Mac. He is under contract with the 49ers through next season. Do I feel that Brian Robinson is being underutilized? I think he's being perfectly utilized. He's getting better every single week. I mean, he's looked awesome over the last couple of weeks. I think that's evidence that they're approaching his introduction into this system very deftly, right? And I think as the season continues, you're going to see more and more of Brian Robinson. If you tried to feed him out of the fire hose at the very start, playing in Shanahan's running scheme, I don't think it would be as successful as what we've seen out of Brian Robinson now. All right, everybody enjoy Thursday Night Football. That's enough from me right now. The big news, Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall officially back for the 49ers on Sunday. It's a big new chapter for San Francisco moving forward.